Back in April this year, it was reported that Cruise's General Motors autonomous electric vehicles were blocking certain streets in San Francisco. Basically, they'd all drive to one location, no one knows why, and block the street together as like a group. Maybe making a protest about, I don't know, global warming or something like that. Possibly. Who knows? Now, GM actually eventually recalled the vehicles and said it fixed them. But actually, it keeps on happening. In fact, as covered by SF Gate, multiple incidents have occurred around the city with the company's autonomous fleet of Bolts. And it seems as though for some reason, GM's Cruise autonomous vehicles now enjoy blocking traffic just for the fun of it. Maybe they get together and just laugh. I don't know. Here I was thinking, you know what? The NHTSA is just targeting Tesla. It's not really fair, right? If you think about it, GM's autonomous cars have been doing some pretty wacky things. Having their own car parties, getting together. Basically, they drive across a suburb, hang out together in the same street and block the street, been involved in crashes. The NHTSA had nothing to say. And guess what? I was wrong. There's a probe that they're concerned about GM's autonomous technology. Gotta say, I feel like this is the right thing to do, but I am disappointed. I really want autonomous technology to take off quickly. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm the Electric Viking. My name is Sam Evans, and I'm coming to you from Melbourne in Australia. Thank you for tuning in. It's great to see you. I hope you've had an amazing week. And this is a story which is kind of interesting considering some of the recent news stories which have barely been reported on by the news. The news seems to just skip over General Motors. Maybe GM pays well for their advertising rates, so they really kind of take a light approach to GM. Now, I should point out the fact that also within the last 48 hours, GM has recalled around 900,000 vehicles worldwide. They're saying some of those can be fixed via over-the-air updates, but you've got to take it to your dealer. And they might be able to do an over-the-air update for you. I don't think that legacy automakers understand the definition of an over-the-air update. They're using it as a misnomer, I believe, incorrectly. Anyhow, that's another story. Let's focus on GM's autonomous technology, Super Cruise, which is actually pretty good. But GM also has autonomous vehicles driving around right now. You can hail a taxi in some parts of the United States and have a GM car drive you if you're brave enough. I mean, to be honest, they probably work well most of the time. Anyway, now clearly GM believe that autonomous cars are the way of the future, and they claim they will make tens of billions of dollars through their autonomous technology within the next decade. In fact, they're betting that as part of their future cash flow. They're going to actually use a lot of that cash to continue to invest in building out EV production. I hope it works for that reason. But, it's a long, tough road. The US has now opened a probe into GM's Cruise vehicles' autonomous driving systems. The NHTSA says it received notices of Cruise vehicles abruptly braking, becoming immobile, or in my words, having street parties together. Now, who would have thought electric cars would like to hang out and have parties together? What do they do? What do they say? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Auto safety regulators said on Friday they have opened a formal safety probe into the autonomous driving systems in vehicles produced by General Motors' robotaxi unit Cruise LLC. Now, I want to make a point. I think Cruise works pretty well. It's not perfect. No one is, but it's pretty good. However, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, or the NHTSA, said it has received notices of incidents in which vehicles operated by Cruise may engage in inappropriately hard braking or become completely immobilized. Now, they didn't point out that some of them like to just drive of their own volition wherever they feel like as well, but that is happening. The agency said while both issues appear to be distinct, they each result in the Cruise vehicles becoming unexpected roadway obstacles. This could be dangerous. The safety agency's preliminary evaluation covers 242 Cruise autonomous vehicles, and it's a first step before it could seek a recall. The investigation follows reports of 3 crashes in which Cruise vehicles were struck from behind by other cars after the autonomous vehicles braked quickly. Cruise is offering limited service in San Francisco with a small fleet of Chevrolet Bolt EVs. Now, I should point out, these vehicles that have stopped quickly and then been crashed into by other cars, that's not really entirely what happened. I mean, some of this information is coming from Automotive News, and they are obviously, they do get some of their funding from General Motors. So what's really happened is these GM vehicles, these autonomous cruise vehicles, have been driving down the street. There's nothing in front of them, no traffic, and then they, bang, slam their brakes on. So that's a different story, and that's actually illegal in most countries around the world. In fact, in many countries around the world, you can't even stop for things like ducks to cross the road. And if you slam your brakes on because you see a bird on the road or a duck on the road and someone hits you from behind, you are actually criminally liable. So you can see why that would be the case, because the car behind you can't see that there's any reason for you stopping and therefore wouldn't predict that you would do so. Cruise said it has driven nearly 700,000 fully autonomous miles in an extremely complex urban environment with zero life-threatening injuries or fatalities. There's always a balance between healthy regulatory scrutiny and the innovation we desperately need to save lives, which is why we will continue to fully cooperate with NHTSA or any regulator in achieving that shared goal. Now, the key thing we need to point out here, this technology employed by Cruise, General Motors, and of course Google with Alphabet and their Waymo cars, which are very similar to the Cruise's GM cars, a very different system compared to Tesla. Now, these cars, driven in Cruise's system and of course Waymo's cars, are using a set of maps. And those maps mean they are geo-fenced. Those vehicles cannot drive outside of that location where they have detailed digital mapping. In order to drive outside of that location, they need updated maps. So what happens is these maps have to be updated on a pretty much daily basis. If a road changes, the car won't know what to do. It needs to have a map uploaded to its system with the correct information. That's why sometimes these cars are confused. Things change. Stop signs change. Give way signs change. Lanes change. And if that map hasn't been updated pretty much immediately, the car can get confused. So that's the disadvantage of one of these cars. Now, the advantage is they're already on the road and they work pretty well. The disadvantage is if they're geo-fenced, they'll always only be able to drive within that geo-fenced area. Last month, Cruise Chief Operating Officer Jill West told Reuters the company plans to enter a large number of markets and scale operations up to thousands of vehicles this year. I mean, in 2023. I'm not sure they're ready for that yet. I mean, maybe though, I'm not, and we'll see. NHTSA said the issues may introduce multiple potential hazards, such as a collision with a cruise vehicle, risk to a stranded passenger exiting an immobilized cruise vehicle, say, for example, if it stopped in the middle of a freeway, which would be quite scary, or obstruction of other traffic, including emergency vehicles. Now, I should point out, I shouldn't lie to you, cruise vehicles are not currently used on freeways. It's not considered within their safety parameters yet. The agency said it has 3 reports of cruise vehicles' automated driving system initiating a hard braking maneuver in response to another road user that was quickly approaching from the rear. In each case, the other road user subsequently struck the rear of the ADS-equipped cruise vehicle. Cruise said police did not ticket their vehicles in any of the 3 crashes because police believed that GM's vehicles were actually at fault. NHTSA said it has been notified of multiple reports involving cruise vehicles operating without onboard human supervision, becoming immobilized, confused, driving around in circles, which may strand vehicle passengers in unsafe locations such as lanes of travel or intersections and become an unexpected obstacle for other road users. Now, of course, this is going to happen with new technology. I think this is pretty much to be expected. That's why I'm a bit doubtful that this is going to be rolled out big time all over the US in 2023. I think Cruise is being a little bit overly optimistic. Cruise in September recalled an updated software in 80 self-driving vehicles after a June crash in San Francisco that left 2 people injured. NHTSA said the recalled software could incorrectly predict an oncoming vehicle's path. Cruise said it had determined this unusual scenario would not recur after the update. GM said Cruise in February disclosed they petitioned NHTSA for permission to deploy some self-driving vehicles without steering wheels, mirrors, turn signals, or windshield wipers. that petition is still pending. That's kind of scary to think that, if something happens in these vehicles, there's no real redundancy. If there's no steering wheel and it starts going haywire, you can't take over. You can't drive it off the road. I'm not sure that's a good plan, but I could be wrong. As always, let me know what your thoughts are on all of this in the comment section below, and have a great weekend, my friends. Bye-bye.